Then there's actual budget tightening, where we refined the estimates. Of necessity, when you start out in a budget, you do kind of the worst case scenario, and then you adjust that as you go along. Suspended the vehicle replacement fund for 2008-9. It did not touch the existing vehicle replacement fund. That remains there. However, no department is contributing this year to the vehicle replacement fund, and that's why there's savings, because it's something that the departments don't have to pay into. Therefore, we didn't give them money to be able to pay into the vehicle replacement fund. But this is discrete to this particular fiscal year, and next year is another year, and we weren't planning to do it 2 years in a row. It's a strategy that can work periodically, but obviously not serially. Held the line on capital projects and fixed assets, and applied insurance reimbursement to water projects. We're still trying to do that, although it seems to be a smaller insurance reimbursement that we're looking at now. And then in terms of looking at staffing reductions, and this was the results from the proposed budget, there were no net new positions created. We reduced by 54 formally funded positions. Reduced use of extra help positions, although again that's something that needs constant vigilance. There were no increases in overtime funded, and that's something we'll come back to later since that is an issue. And we also researched additional position reductions and or mandatory time off or furloughs so that we would have knowledge of what impact they would have if they were necessary as a budget balancing strategy. So what we accomplished in the proposed budget was that we covered the wage increases, in some primarily through salary savings. But what I would say is for the smallest departments, salary savings don't work. And so for the most part, in the small departments, and I would say those are departments of under about 15 positions, for the most part, we fully funded them. Because in the absence of wanting to specifically cut, when it could be as much as a 10% cut in staffing in some of the departments or even more, we did have to augment, again, mostly the smaller departments. We funded some additional water agency projects. That was through carryover funding in the water agency, as well as dedicating the insurance reimbursement. And we have addressed partially community concerns for EMS and fire protection while we're continuing to look for the long-term strategies. So in this particular case, we have a balanced proposed budget for 2008-9, and as we move forward to the final budget, in its current iteration, it is balanced. So kind of looking retrospectively at things that have occurred in the past year, was getting the mental health budget under control, and I know that the HHSA director wants to report to you this afternoon on that accomplishment. They have worked to integrate HHSA administrative structures in this past year, stabilizing animal care and control, and they are now working on integrated crisis services. So those are various accomplishments that have occurred in the past year and will continue in the future. Looking at human resources, this past year we implemented pre-employment testing. We finalized the MOU documents for SEIU and are continuing to work on the MOU documents for the other bargaining units. They're kind of in queue. We agreed on a health premium approach, worked on labor relations, and implemented market adjustments. So it's been a busy year for human resources. In terms of public resources, looked at a reorganization proposal for public resources agencies, and then that then segued into permit streamlining cross-training, which is an active project now that is being worked on by those departments. Began planning for Prop 42 and 1B, and the Mill Creek Dam's EIR was completed, which means we get to move on to further implementation in that arena. In terms of water and roads, water projects included research into a variety of things, and then you just got a report last week that allowed priority setting on that. And then road construction and repair projects are in the works. Advanced planning here. The Ukiah Valley Area Plan is to the admin draft stage. It's being worked on at this point. Completion by the end of 2009. The public review draft should be out early in the spring of 2009. The general plan update is to the public draft, or public review draft stage, as you know, because that has been handed out. Planning team has completed most of the 50-acre rezone, worked on the inclusionary housing ordinance, which will be coming forward in a matter of weeks, and data collection for Mendocino Town Plan, which will also be coming forward in the next month. In terms of justice, we've been working with the court on facility transfer agreements, and also at this point researching day treatment center concept, because that's part of looking at the whole justice master plan and seeing how we can fit together these elements. So just a quick reminder of the 3 objectives that were set in 2005 for justice planning. It was to develop the master plan, implement pretrial services, and address jail repair and remodeling. And we've made